In order to play heads or tails, you need 3, 4, or 5 astute players, ages 12 and up. Try to find a gang of eggheads who know how to have fun. Unfortunately for today, this group will have to do. The object of this game is to play all the cards in your possession while getting the most points possible. At the end of the hand, cards that are still in your possession but not played in runs and sets on the table in front of you will be counted negatively against you when the first player has laid down all of his cards. The first player to reach 500 points wins. Bazinga! 2 piles of 5 cards are dealt to each player. Each player picks up one of their piles but places the other pile face down aside. The first pile he picks up is referred to as the head, and the pile that remains on the table is referred to as the tail. The remainder of the deck, or the draw pile, is set face down on the center of the table, and the top card is turned over and placed face up next to the deck, forming the discard pile. The point value of the cards are as follows. 1s, 2s, 4s, 5, and 6s are all blue cards and are worth a scrawny 5 points each. 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, and 11s are all red cards and are worth 10 points. 12s are all green and are worth 15 points. Wild cards are worth 15 points. 3s are all gray and are worth negative 50 points. Holy reverse polarity, Batman! How can a 3 be worth negative 50 points? A run is defined as 4 or more consecutive cards. The color of the card is not relevant. An example of a run is a group containing a number 5, number 6, number 7, and a number 8 card. Runs must have at least 4 cards but may have up to 12 cards. Each run, no matter how long, is only allowed to contain 1 wild card. A set is defined as 3 or more cards of the same number. An example of a set is a group containing 3 number 9 cards. Each set is only allowed to contain 1 wild card. The only exception to the 1 wild card per set rule is a player is allowed to lay down a set of cards that has all wild cards and no numbered cards, which is like uber cool. In order to lay down, a player must add the point value of all the cards he wants to lay down, and it must total at least 65 points. A player may lay down any combination of runs and sets to accomplish this. For example, he may have 1 run of number 5, wild card, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, and number 11, which would total 70 points. Another example would be a set of 3 number 4s, that's 15 points, a run of number 5, number 6, number 7, and wild card, 35 points, and a set of 3 number 2s, or 15 points. This particular combination of sets and a run equals 65 points. I have a bad feeling about this, but let's join this game that is already in progress. Each player will choose if he wants to take the top 2 cards from the draw pile or if he wants to take all of the cards in the discard pile. Players are not allowed to search through the discard pile to see what is there. Resistance is futile. If a player cannot lay down at least 65 points in the form of runs and sets, he discards 1 card in the discard pile. Players who do not know how to add will be mocked by the other players. When a player can lay down at least 65 points, he now has to lay down the remaining cards in his hands. When a player gets rid of all of the cards in his head, he then picks up a coin and calls it before he flips it. Holy Zorro, Batman! If he calls the flip correctly, he gets to pick up his tail and continue playing. Eventually, more players will have the opportunity to lay down, get rid of the cards in their head, flip the coin, and hopefully move into their tails. Players who can't correctly call a flip just sit and wait until they get it right. Winning the round. When a player is able to play all of the cards in his tail, the round is over. He can either lay his last card down in front of him as part of an existing or new run or a set, or he may throw it on the discard pile. As soon as a player is out of cards, no additional cards from other players can be played. Don't make her angry. You wouldn't like her when she's angry. Winning the game. Multiple rounds are played until a player reaches 500 total points and wins the game. Great Scott! You probably assumed this was the end of the instructions. Boy, oh boy, were you wrong. This is an alternative option for team play, if there are 4 players and team play is desired. Choose teams and sit in a formation in which no 2 team members are seated next to one another. All above rules are followed with the following exceptions. Number 1. Players must have 75 points to lay down sets and runs instead of 65 points. Number 2. On the turn after your partner gets 75 points and is able to lay down, you may lay your runs and or sets down even if you haven't reached 75 points. Number 3. You may play on your partner's runs and sets. Number 4. Win scoring combine both you and your partner's positive and total negative points, resulting in an overall score for your team. One last thing. Before play starts, the goal score of 500 points can be raised or lowered if a longer or shorter game is desired. Live long and prosper.